it's MK and I am back with another Mixed Media Mayhem. This is the layout that we will be lifting today by City Scrapper. I absolutely love her style, and I'm going to kind of mimic her style by doing an autumn themed layout. Now I have two of these netted bundles, both gifted to me. This green bundle was gifted to me by Nancy. I absolutely was thrilled when I saw this package. It also had this amazing burlap brown ribbon in it, as well as this kind of weird sequins in it, but I love the color. So I'm hoping that I'll get it to work with this layout, but in all honesty, I think it's the wrong orange, and so I don't end up using it. All right, I also have some Mrs. Brimbles from the Dottie About Flair shop, and it is all autumn themed. So I have used a bunch of the die cuts already, but I do plan on pulling out a few pieces and using those, as well as some of the tiny word stickers. I have this Journey title by Heidi Swap, and then I went through my ribbon bin that I had just sitting on my desk. In fact, it's still sitting on my desk. And I went through it and pulled out all of the, I guess, musky, darker colors as far as the green goes. I wanted more of a mossy green rather than a bright spring green. And then I also had one of these Flair. I do not know who it was made by, but I got it in a Not Just for Boys kit club. I have some leftovers from my conspiracy kit that I would like to use on this layout. And then I also pulled out a cardstock that is from my Tonic Studios kit. And then 13 Arts, I pulled out this End of Summer on the Porch piece because I loved the wood grain side, which doesn't look like a wood grain side, but it had all of those panels in multiple colors. So I also pulled out two off-white cardstocks. Now one is made for mixed media, so it's on the heavier side, and then the other one I pulled out so I could use these pastes, or inks I should say. One is a chalk ink by Magnolia Design, and it's that really dark green. I was looking to see if it was a chalk ink or their chalk paste. I couldn't remember. And then the other one was Dilutions. I believe it was Dirty Martini. And then I have this one, it's Chalkology paste, that's a little on the green glitter side. So in case I needed more green strips to complete this layout, I brought those in. They were just encasers. So I'm not really sure exactly how many strips I need or how much green I wanted to bring in. And then I brought in a ton of sprays. Now this is a Nuvo spray. I had to replace the bottle because none of those little spritzers worked. And it became massively annoying. So I just changed out bottles. I have some oxide sprays, and then I have a Nuvo sparkle spray. And the very first one was my Altenew Ink Spray. Some of them have sparkle in them, like this. This spritzer definitely had sparkle in it. The mica spray does, and the Altenew one does, but the Distress Oxides are not. They're matte finished. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take that one piece of paper and cut it up along the grain, because like I said, some of the pieces already looked like they were in the panels, and so when I cut them up, they definitely look like they have starts and stops to them. And it looks to me like City Scrapper used almost washi tape for her little strips. Now, I guesstimated that it was about 1/2 inch. And when I realized that I was going to start to have an anxiety attack because nothing was going to go straight, I decided to grab my ruler and put a diagonal on this piece. Now this is the piece of cardstock that I initially was going to use for the green paints in case I needed to bring some green in, and I opted not to. I end up really liking how all of these strips come together. I actually really like the design just using the one paper and then the leftovers from the Vicky Boutin color study piece, that orange polka dot piece. I ended up using just the 4x6 piece that I had left over from cutting out my photo mat. So, and I went ahead and I pre-cut out all my photo mats. I'm going to double mat it just like what's in the inspiration layout. And so that way I can go ahead and use up some more paper. I have a nasty habit of using as little paper as possible and then realizing why I have so much left over. Yep, that is a nasty habit, and I need to just start using up paper. I need to stop gutting paper in hopes that I'm going to use it again. I just really need to use my product. So what I'm going to do here is just a few pieces here and there, and even though I'm not going exactly in the 1/2 inch markings, I just wanted to make sure that my paper was going in line. I wanted to make sure that it was straight across instead of getting all wonky. That was the only reason why I went through all the trouble of drawing out the lines. That was it. So I'm going to only do a few pieces here. I don't have any intention of doing the entire thing on camera, but it is the exact same thing. I'm going to sift through all of my papers and things and make sure that, you know, there's just the right amount of yellow, just the right amount of orange, just the right amount of green, which is that lime-ish, almost minty green. But it's just gorgeous. I love how that turned out. And then I went ahead and I cut it off because I don't need any of that extra green. So now I'm going to try to figure out how to do my mixed media. At first I was like, I don't really need it. I was very happy with how all of those stripes came out, and just, I've never done anything like that, you guys. I don't usually mix my patterns, or prints like this, because normally I already have a print that works just fine. So I don't ever try anything, but this time I wanted to give it a try. I thought it looked really enjoyable to do, and I just love these colors, in all honesty. So I cut off a couple of the netting and a couple, a little bit of the netting and a little bit of that burlap, and now I'm going to distress my edges just because that's kind of, you know, the mood and feel is what it is. The leaves aren't laying flat. Nothing is, you know, as it should be. And so I just kind of wanted the layout to give that same portrayal, that it's not going to lay flat. Well, it is going to lay flat, but you know what I mean. It gives it that, I'm stuck in the grass type of feel. So, I had no idea, none whatsoever, how to do the mixed media that she did. Could I have went and watched her video? Absolutely. I could have done that if there was one. I did not even check to see if there was one. I just wanted to play, and lately I have been using my sprays as my ink medium, as my paint medium. Why? I don't know. It's just something that I started to do, and I really enjoy it. But this Nuvo Mica Mist was weird. It came out brown, and then it came out purple, and then it started getting gritty, and I thought, okay, I'm done with that. Let's move on. So let's try the sparkle spray because, whoa, it looks neon green. And I loved how it just, I put the water down and it just flowed out like that. And it was magical. And then where I touched the brush is where the sparkle stayed. So only the ink flowed out. It flowed. Is that a word? It doesn't sound like a word. So now I'm going to do the Nuvo spray. I wish I remembered all the names of these. I showed them to you guys really super fast, but I don't even think I gave the camera time to focus over them. So I don't really know, and I apologize about that. This one I know is Rustic Wilderness by Tim Holtz, because it is fastly becoming my favorite green out of his entire collection. I just love this deep dark green. And so anyways, I realized that I'm getting a little too dark. It's not as light as the rest of my corner is. And so I took my napkin real quick, daubed it up. I re-wet it and daubed it up again, trying to lighten it up even more. And now I'm going back through with just water and trying to move the color and lighten it even more, because I don't want it to be uber super dark in the green world. But when I add this orange, which is again, I believe it's orange marmalade. I'm not really sure. Hey, look, I have all the colors right here in front of me. It's spiced marmalade, is the color of this Distress Oxide that I am using. And I love how that looks. Oh my gosh, it matches that Vicki Boutin paper like perfectly. It is gorgeous. I like it. And then I thought, well, is it white enough? Did I do it? You know, like, is it thick enough for me to be seen underneath all the stuff I have intention of putting on this layout? Also, too, I decided that I wanted shades of this orange, so I dabbed it up, waited for it to dry. Now I'm putting this orange on dry before I put it on the wet medium. So I took a wet brush, put it all over, and then I put it on as a wet medium. And then I went back through for a different shade of orange using it dry on the dry paper. And then, of course, giving it a little bit of splatter. And then I'm going to take I believe this is the Altenew, which is, I remember it's Forest Glade Altenew Ink Spray. And I'm just going to go ahead and dab it. Now, I don't want it to be in that entire corner. I just want it to look like it spilled over from the mixed media that I just did at a diagonal. And so, of course, it does end up going all the way because I was like, oh, what is wrong with you? And then I turned my nozzle to where when I tapped it, it was going the direction I wanted it to. All right, so I definitely want these two pieces. Now, like I said, the sequins that I showed you guys earlier, it was just the wrong orange. I thought it was going to match beautifully, and then it just turned out to be the wrong orange. But it will end up on a layout, you guys. I love that color. It is gorgeous, and I am dying to figure out how to apply it to a layout. So it will. Anyways, I decided to add a third mat because I had this little scrap of Vicki Boutin something something, and I think it's left over from that circle, that rainbow circle paper, to be honest. I think it is. And then I definitely want to finish off my pies by using them as the doily that she has in her layout. I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect because A, they're orange and yellow. They're the autumn colors that I am going for on this layout. But I wasn't sure if I wanted all 4 pieces and it actually looked like a full circle going around my corner here, or if I just wanted the 2 pieces. And as soon as I removed them, I was like, nope, I want all 4. I definitely want all 4. And in the end, they kind of blend in with everything else that I have going on, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, I am going to take this webbing or this netting or I don't even know what it's called, this mesh, and split it into so it's behind my burlap. And then that way it kind of is seen, but kind of isn't seen. I don't know. I wanted it to look like moss. Now, I don't live in a mossy area. I actually live in a very dry area. And so we don't have a whole lot of moss. But I love going to other areas and seeing how moss grows up on the tree trunks, or some of it's on the side of a house, things like that. It is so beautiful to me having all of that like padded greenery on on the elements outside. And I'm a little jealous because we'll never get that. We do have kind of like a dry moss, and it's a little on the bluey purple side. In fact, next time I see it, I'll take some pictures because it's dry, and you could see that it's dry, and that's why it gets its bluey purple tint, because it is dry, and it doesn't look like a pad of stuffing. It doesn't look soft and fluffy like some of the moss does. All right, so I'm going to take that journey title and just kind of, I'm only gluing it where the R and the N touch the photo and the J, and then it's going to float on my layout. That's it. That's the only spots where I'm going to glue it. And then I'm not too worried about it because once it is hit into my layout, it's going to stay there. I don't foresee it. If it does, I'll let you guys know. But I do not foresee it falling down, honestly. So I have no intention of putting teeny tiny little pop dots behind the word journey. I love it just sitting there floating in air like that. I love it. So this is just a picture. My husband and I decided 2 years ago to go check out the fall festival out in our Lamoille Canyon. And it was cold. I was wearing Converse. So instantly, the small little walk that we did just to take that photo, my feet were soaked and freezing, and I was ready to go home. I said, let's take a photo and let's go, because it was so cold. We did not dress for the weather. So going from Spring Creek to Lamoille, I believe it's 16 miles out and down south. It's south east a little bit. And it's just like stepping into a fairy tale. It is like not even being in the same area of where I live. It is beautiful. The forest is all man-made, so everything was brought in, everything except for the birch trees. And birch trees, in my opinion, are just fantabulous. They're beautiful, you guys, with that white bark and all the browns, and oh my gosh. And I know you're not supposed to carve into trees, but when people carve into a birch tree and then it grows out the next year, oh my gosh, it is so pretty. It is just it's a different kind of beautiful is what it is. And I love seeing it all. And it is all around out in Lamoille. And like I said, it is like walking into a whole other state when you go down there and visit. And it's just a drive away is all it is. It's not like, we have to make a day out of it. It is just a beautiful drive. In fact, that is where we go up and walk into the canyon. So yes, when I take my canyon pictures, that is where we are as well, except that it's another little drive up. Now we're going up the mountain. So we go down to Lamoille, then we go up in elevation, and then we hike up even more. So it is just insane. But anyways, I have, what was I doing? I had no idea. I divided all of my leaves into small, medium, large, and then microscopically small, which I don't have any microscopically small elements. But that is how I do my clusters, is I always organize everything first. I want to see what I have before just trying to make clusters out of what I can see. If I organize everything, then I kind of know where I'm at and what I have. And then I just start with the largest pieces and build from there. Now, do I always put the smallest pieces on top? Absolutely not. I tuck and weave and fill in gaps where I feel there is a blank spot missing. And sometimes those little tiny pieces are exactly what that blank spot is missing, even though it's not front and center. So I went ahead and I did all that. Then I went through my Bramble Fox pieces, which I just thought were perfect, and chose the Hello Autumn little circle because she's got a little badge up on the left-hand corner. And then also some little tiny word stickers that I added to, and then I took a little ticket and added that as well. And that is it. This is the layout that I have for you guys. I am absolutely loving how this turned out. Now, I did not take my elements and span them completely across the corner. I left my corners bare just because the corners seem to be the weakest part of the layout. And so I do not like taking all of my elements all the way from corner to corner. I try to keep them, I do like some elements, kind of hanging off the page, but I'm not sure. I don't like, putting them all the way to the corner's edge, but I love this. I love City Scrapper's version. This was so fun. And I definitely look forward to seeing what everyone else did for this layout. So if you're interested in seeing what everyone else did, be sure to check out their channels. They are all down below in the description box of this video. And I can't wait to go check them all out. So I hope you guys do too. All right, I'll see you guys all later. And yeah, see ya.